Welcome, y'all, my yarny loves. It's past time o'clock that we were crafting a better world for all. So let's dig into our tools, our project bags, and see what meaning we can find to inspire us in the work of being, becoming, and braving a better world for all. Hello, we're still in a pandemic over here. Stay home and cast on. When you start a knitting project, you have to cast stitches onto your needle. And there are many ways to cast on. No one way is really the best right one, despite what some perfectionist crafters might tell you. The first cast on I learned was the reverse loop cast on, and you just twist loops onto your needle. It's pretty simple. It's easy to explain and do, but it honestly really kind of sucks because the next row of stitches are harder to knit into because the loops, they're awkward, kind of loose, and they can easily fall off your needle, which is not great when you're first starting out. And they really don't make a very firm or attractive cast on edge. But you have to start somewhere, right? And sometimes you just need to jump into the work and get to the deep end as soon as possible. So often our cast on, our beginning, is stumbly. We say the wrong thing and offend someone. We want to get it right, but sometimes you do just have to start, because we may never really get it right completely, especially the first time. So show up, be present, listen, pay attention. Your cast on may be awkward, but if you don't get some stitches on your needle, then you can't get going with your knitting. If we don't first show up to a relationship, to our community, a struggle, the work, we'll never get going. We'll never be present to be a partner in the work, let alone be present so that we can know how to show up better the next time, how to cast on in a different way. But sometimes you want to skill up, be more methodical. The cast on that we like to teach new knitters is the knitted cast on. It's slow. You knit into the first slip knot loop and then bring that up onto the needle. Then you knit into that stitch and bring another stitch up onto the needle, stitch after stitch, until you have the needle full that you need. It's slow, but it reinforces the actions of knitting itself, except for the last step, and it creates a firmer edge. Sometimes you need to take your time. Be patient, slow, and methodical. And showing up to a relationship, our community, the struggle, the work that we need to do can sometimes be about just listening and paying attention and not trying to show up with the answers. Meaningful systems change takes time. Then there's the long tail cast on. This is my favorite one, but because it creates the nicest edge, but it's really hard to teach. The first time I saw someone doing it, I freaked out. What the hell was that? All those finger yarn motions. I couldn't track it. So it scared me and I pushed it away. When I finally sat down to learn it though, it wasn't that freaky, but it's one of those things that no one can really tell you how to do. You have to watch it and practice it and have it become rote in your muscles. It's very easy for me to do now, but still hard to teach. This is very similar to resiliency itself. The longtail cast on has the added frustration that you have to have 2 lengths of yarn and having to guess about how much yarn you'll need for the cast on, and you can waste a lot of yarn if you don't get it right. Now I get around this by using 2 ends of the ball of yarn or a second ball of yarn so that I don't have to guess. Now, this is a simple solution, but of course it took a long time for me to figure this out. But luckily I craft in community, so someone else shared this tip with me. We learn from each other. It's how some of us know how to knit to begin with, because someone figured out how to make stuff with yarn and sticks, and they didn't keep it to themselves. They taught someone else, and so on and so on. There's always more to learn. Each cast-on method has different strengths, firmer, stretchier, more decorative. It takes a while to learn different methods, and it's good to be willing to learn. Different situations call for different skills, different ways of being and listening. But first you have to learn the basics. Casting on, beginning. It takes time, and sometimes has to be done over again multiple times. We must be prepared to begin again and again if we truly want to craft a better world for all.